Hello and welcome. We are
the Sisters of the Holy Fiber. This is episode 8, and my name is Devin, also known as Rambunctious Guy on Ravelry.
And I'm Heather, also known as Tiny Kiwi. So grab your chasing hammer or your needle nose pliers and join us as we craft and chat. Although if you had a chasing hammer, you'd probably be making too much noise to listen to us, so put down that chasing hammer and pay attention.
Maybe they got the earphones.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Go for it.
There we go.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh, yeah. Maybe you do need earphones. This is a good idea. So, works in progress. What you working on?
I am working on my Sashiko, plugging away. I finished both of the fronts, and I finished the back, and now I did decide to do the sleeves 2 at a time. Here, let me, I don't know. I'm working on it, so I can't show you both of them, but they are both casted on. And I just had to do a little math, because in the pattern they're like half sleeve or 3/4 sleeve. So I had to do some math to size it down for starting at the cuff.
Oh, okay.
Math! I have a book. Oh, what's the title of it?
Not just one, I hope. She's pared down her stash. She only possesses one book now.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's basic sweater patterns in all kinds of gauges. So if you want to knit a certain sweater, it's like a template. And so you just look up, okay, well, I'm getting 4 stitches per inch, and I'm a size 32, so I cast on this many stitches.
Right.
You have to take the book with a little bit of grain of salt because her sizing is a little big. She's got like a lot of positive ease on it. But what I do is I see like how many stitches am I supposed to end up with in the pattern, and then I find that number, and then I just use whatever that size is and scale it down.
Way to get around it.
Yeah. So I will link to what the name of that book is and the book in the show notes because I can't remember it. It's something like basic sweater patterns, or I don't remember the name.
Maybe if they made the name exciting, we would remember it more. But when it's utilitarianly named, not so exciting to remember.
Well, and I taught all day and I'm tired, so my brain's not at its optimal right now.
But if it was like 1,000 exciting sweaters to knit for your zebra, you would probably remember it.
That's true. Because why would I have a zebra?
Yeah, and why would I be knitting him sweaters?
Well, that's less of a question. If I had a zebra, I'd knit him sweaters. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's really true.
Okay, and I have been thinking about casting on other things, but casting on requires counting, and I haven't had the brain power for counting, so...
Well, at least it keeps you on track that way.
Yeah, so my owl is coming swimmingly.
Good.
I did take a side trek to try and knit a little stuffy plush owl thing, but I didn't like the eyes, and I'm very particular, and was not happy with it, so I have to fix the eyes, but it's still at work, because I was working on it on my lunch break, and it's just sitting on my desk, so I consider that a work in progress as well, because its eyes are unsatisfactory.
You tell that. So, do you have to design your own, or what are you going to do?
For the eyes?
Yeah.
I tried doing embroider eyes with the same size yarn as the owl, and it looks dumb. And, like, it puckers, and it just does not look good. So, what I really like to do for eyes is use felt. And I just cut a circle and cut another circle and sew it down. And I can do the stitches so that you can't see the sewing. And I prefer that much more. It looks much more clean and polished. And this, like, the eyes were fine, but it looked very unfinished. It just looked, I don't know, just like somebody who was doing this didn't know what they were doing. Which is what was happening. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of trying to budget, and I didn't like it, so. I can fix it, so I'm going to fix it.
Do you have felt?
that was the other problem is I couldn't find it. I have sheets of it somewhere.
You know, you could always try, somewhere? Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
I know how the crafting
after moving every year,
Yeah, things just kind of get jumbled. But what I was going to say is you could try a bullion stitch where you still use the yarn, but like you wrap it around the needle before you draw it through. You can find tutorials on YouTube or just the internet. But it makes kind of almost it looks like a spring of yarn. It's a cute stitch. You could try it. Look it up and see if it would suffice. Since I don't know what your owl really looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, his nose.
Oh.
Let's see if I can get him close enough. His nose is a bullion stitch. Let me get the light closer so you can see.
Yeah.
This is my little white mouse that I crocheted recently off of the free Japanese patterns that I found. I can't remember. It wasn't clover, but...
Yeah, and I think the other problem is that, like, that looks cute. Is like embroidering onto knit fabric. Like, the crochet stitches stay where they are. But embroidering onto knit fabric moves around. So I can't pull anything tight. Because it pulls all the stitches wonky. It was just embroidering on the knit. It was just not a good idea. Did not work.
How about a button backing? Okay, I'm just trying to...
Yeah, well, he's already Kitchenered, and I could un-Kitchener his top, but his top is already Kitchenered. I can't get on the inside.
Yeah, no.
But that's a really good idea for next time.
Yeah, but not for this time. Don't undo that work. Don't be crazy now.
No.
Just a little crazy.
Because I've done felt eyes before, and I know I like the look of those.
Yeah. It's just if you can't find it, then at least it would be done.
Yeah.
But at least that's a thought. Anything else you're working on?
Nope, that's it. What you working on?
I've made super duper owl progress. I finally made my... I'm going to drop a stitch.
More stripes!
Yay! More stripes.
Yay!
Let me get the light again. So, I'm at 50% of my rows.
Awesome!
So, I got a whole lot done at knit night, yesterday.
Yeah!
I pretty much knit all day, actually.
Gigantor.
Yay! So I'm super happy that I made the 50%. That way I still get points even if I can't get this done by the end of next month. And honestly, I might not. I'm loving it. I'm cranking along on it. But I'm still like a slow knitter comparatively,
Do you see?
Oh! That's a sweetie tail mustache. She's got the longest tail.
Yes, she does. So you're gonna at least get your 50% in. Did you turn it in already?
I did indeed, thankfully. I haven't gotten anybody saying that they've, confirmed that I've turned it in, so I gotta keep an eye on that to make sure that someone notices that I turned it in time.
Yeah.
Especially since my original turn-in was kind of suspect. But I'm on the list of people for the History of Magic owls, so somebody must have recognized that I got okayed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of relieving. But anyway, so that's where I am at on the owl. Most of my time is spent on this thing now. I also got, I don't know if I'm going to get my one class done or if I'm just going to have to submit it as a partial. Because I'm not feeling things this month. The class prompts I wasn't very happy with. Not excited. Anyway, so here's his little two front fangly, I wanted to call them feelers. Tentacles on my octopus knee warmer. So then I was thinking my original plan for attaching this to your knee was to have some straps that go along the back, and then I was like, that's stupid. I need to make more tentacles anyway, so I might as well make tentacle straps.
Duh, that's smart.
How long did it take me? But this is one of those projects where it's I like it and then I hate it. So if it wasn't for a class, I probably wouldn't get it done. So, and now that I've reached my owl 50%, I can focus on other things, because that was really what I wanted to do, was get that in. So I don't know if I'm going to get this done by the end of the month.
Did you get your one class in?
Nope. I have to submit this as a partial or finish it tonight, basically. Or maybe tomorrow if I get really lazy. And then I run the risk of not being able to turn it in on time. But that's that. And then, what else was I working on? Oh, I found my little button maker. So I've been, let me see if I can get the light on it so you can see it well enough.
Ooh.
This is kind of like, I don't know, what do you call it? Brocade fabric?
Why, yes, you may make me buttons.
It was a scrap left over from the upper part of my sleeves for my Lord of the Rings dress that Kathy helped me make for that wedding. That was Hobbit themed. And she had the fabric left over, so she made the top part of my sleeve out of this one. So I had the scraps. So I was like, well, it's pretty fabric. Let's give this button maker a try finally. So, and this is, like clothing buttons. It's got a shank on the back, not like, the pin back buttons that you have like slogans and stuff on. Excuse me. So, now I'm very excited about that. And I'll talk more about that later, because it has to do with one of my books. Yay!
Oh, cool.
So then, the other project I was working on was, let me pull one out of this bag, because otherwise I don't think you're going to be able to see it. They're very small. You know those little tiny,
Why am I not surprised that this started with, those little, tiny...
Yeah, I like little small projects. Always. So, these are the glass jars that have little corks in the top. I really don't know if you're going to be able to see these guys.
Yeah, I can see them.
And then they have a little, like, loop on the top that's stuck into the cork.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw, I think it might have been Kathy, that part of her sister's projects, she had little potion jars that had little tiny labels and stuff on them, and full of little fun things. And I was like, that's the cutest stuff. I have no idea what I'm going to use that for, because these are glass. I can't make it into a bracelet. But I don't know. I want to make little tiny potions jars anyway, because that sounds super fun. So yeah. And then making the labels is going to be super fun too, because I have a set of super fine markers for artwork, so I can get real fine line work and make some fancy little tiny labels. It's going to be so fun. But then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them. What I'm going to attach them to, because that I have no idea. Earrings, maybe? I just worry about them because they are glass, and I have seen them in the package shattered from shipping or from people messing with them in the store, and I really don't want to give away or sell something that could hurt people.
Well, as long as you say it's breakable.
Yeah, and then it's glass.
Then they know.
Yeah, that's true. And
I would wear them.
Anybody that would be getting any of this would probably be an adult anyway. I just, I worry about people.
I want ones that say, stay in time, like a stay in time potion, and like on this side, like stay in tune. Yeah? I want to stay in time and a stay in tune potion. I'll take it too.
I'll make that happen. Let me write it down. Stay in time and stay in tune?
Yeah. Yay! I
got
can't
it.
wait to see what you think those potions would look like.
I know, right? So, what I've got in them right now are little, nail decorations that I got at the Dollar Tree. Because they already come in like a little jar for applying with, tweezers or one of the little picks, And they're like little tiny ball bearings or beads or something. So they already look super cute. But I was thinking if I find something, I could actually put alcohol in them like you do for, now this is going to be a little gross, but like you could do for preserving bugs. Yeah, but then I was like, well, then I'd have to glue the stopper shut to make sure that you don't spill things out on yourself.
But that wouldn't be too bad, would it?
I don't think so.
I mean, the stoppers are so little, sorry.
Yeah, and I would be using alcohol or water because you don't really need to preserve anything that I'd be putting in there. I'm not putting frog legs in little tiny jars, so... Well, hopefully. One never knows when one starts a craft where it'll end up. But that's all my works in progress that I've been working on. What about finished objects? Do you have any finished objects? Okay.
No.
None. No finished objects either. Well, no, if you count my button, that's one finished object.
That is a finished object.
Yay!
Congratulations on your finished object.
Yeah, I know, it feels kind of sad, but I'm really happy with it and very excited, so.
Well, and both of us are working on Gigantor projects. Like, you have a giant shawl, and I'm working on a sweater, so.
Yeah. I'm really super glad that I picked one that is garter stitch now. And surprisingly, I'm not at all bored with it. It's just needs a lot of cranking, you know? Like, I'm always listening or doing something else while I'm working on it.
And the garter stitch, isn't it so squishy?
It is, and it's just it's actually draping really pretty. I like it.
Good.
I know that in the past when I've made garter things and they kind of droop, especially scarves or whatever, and you make a little scarf that's this big and ends up 17 feet long. I know that's driven me a little crazy in the past, so I'm a little trepidatious, but we'll get through it. Because it's so beautiful. I really like how it's coming out.
That's good. I'm glad.
And even though I will probably need a break between, I think I have 2 more skeins of the same yarn in different colors. I think I might make 2 shawls.
Finish one first before you commit to that.
I know. But I don't hate it yet. It just takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, probably won't be doing it for a while. But in the distant future. And it would use up the yarn that I bought, so, I would be being good and using my yarn stash. But you're right, I gotta finish one thing before we go to the next.
And, by the time you get to the end, you might want to knit a different shawl,
That's true. That's very true. And, I really got to see how it turns out completely. Even though I'm happy with it now, maybe I'll be less happy. I can't actually envision that because I'm loving it, so I don't know. But anyway. Next segment
is Brainy Moments. Do you have any Brainy Moments this week?
I don't got a thing, except unless you want me to show you how to use the button maker.
I do not have a Brainy Moment either, so moving right along.
We're stupid this week.
To what? What'd you say?
I said we're stupid this week.
Oh, we're not that stupid. We're just...
I know. But it's funny if it's moments, then we have no brain this week.
Oh, okay. So the next segment is shiny. And my yarn came from the D-stash that I bought from. So here comes the show and tell.
Yay! Show and tell.
First up is Socks That Rock. And I have heard about this brand of yarn for a long time. People love this yarn. And I've wanted to try it. This colorway is called Happy Go Lucky. It's a pink variation, all the way from pretty dark pink to light pink.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little splash of purplish.
Ooh.
The color's pretty true in the monitor to what it is in real life.
How many yards is that? It looks pretty big.
Yeah, it's 360 yards, so enough for a pair of socks.
Yeah.
And it's 100% superwash merino. And I learned from the Knit FM podcast that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago that hand dyers and independent dyers will often use superwash merino, not only because people like it, but because the process of making the yarn superwash, it kind of takes the scaly part of the wool off and makes the dye stick to the wool better. So I found that fascinating. So, and this particular sock yarn is all, it's 100% superwash merino, so it has no nylon in it.
Okay.
Which usually, I have heard it suggested that it's good to get a sock yarn with a little bit of nylon in it because they wear better for longer that way with the nylon in it. So we'll see. This will be the first pair of socks that I will knit with the sock yarn that's 100% merino. So we'll see if they wear through real fast or if.
Do you have a pattern planned for those already?
Oh no, I don't know.
Just regular old socks.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna knit vanilla socks. But I do have several sock pattern books, so it might turn into something. One of those patterns, but I'm not sure yet.
How about Hermione's everyday socks?
Oh, that's in the, is that in the Harry Potter Knits magazine?
I don't think it is, actually, but it might be. I don't remember where it's from, but I know that a lot of people, in the Harry Potter group have been making those lately, so there's a lot of, samples out there already if you want to take a look at it. I've just seen, pictures of the socks that people post when they're finished. And they look nice. They look like everyday socks.
Cool. I did see another pattern. I saw a sock pattern in the unofficial Harry Potter Knits magazine that looked interesting. It really depends on, I have to get this yarn out and do a swatch with it because... Yeah. I need to see if it's going to pool or not. And if it's going to pool, then I need to do a pattern that will prevent it from pooling because I'm not a pooling person.
Yeah, you really don't like pooling. I don't mind so much. It just depends on the yarn.
Maybe
you should stop buying variegated yarn if you hate the pooling so much. Just an idea. You're so funny. So what is this color?
This is a different yarn altogether. This is by Numa, and they're hand-dyed, and this is called The Special. Ooh. It's 100% superwash merino. This one has a lot more in the skein, or the hank. It's 700 yards.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot. So I could probably get a shawl out of this. And this colorway is on the half shell. So... But it's very pretty, dark purples all the way to light, like a little light sky blue color here.
Okay. Why would this be called in the half shell?
On the half shell, like oysters?
Yeah, but it's blue.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you say the half shell, obviously I think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but that's only because I'm a child of the era. But then oysters and turtles, neither one of them, I think, blue. Maybe because oysters are in the blue ocean? I don't know. No clue. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much, huh?
Probably. On to the next yarn.
A surprise. Oh my gosh. How much yarn did you get?
A lot.
Oh, that's okay.
I got 4 of these.
Yeah. Good gracious.
So this is by the Sanguine Griffin, back when they were the Sanguine.
Oh, yeah. I never bought anything from them, but I've seen it. Yeah.
They were a studio. They were a company that was 2 different studios, and now they are 2 separate companies. They split up. So
people
this is back when they...
Along.
What?
I said people just can't get along.
Well, I have no idea what the story is. Sometimes those kinds of things, maybe it's just too hard to do your bookkeeping. Who knows? So, because then you have to do taxes across state lines. And who wants to do that? Not me.
Me. But I'm crazy. Moving on.
This is hand-painted sock yarn. It's 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon.
Ooh.
And this colorway is Swift Long-Winged Skimmer. Even though skimmers are black and white, that's okay. This is a dark purpley, kind of tonally colored. And I have 4 of them, which is enough for a sweater.
And you said it's purple? It looks kind of gray.
No, it's purple. It's a dark purple. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's a shame because I really like the gray that it looks to me.
I think, you know what? I have had this conversation with people, and sometimes when people see gray, I see a color. I've had this happen before. So it might be gray to some people. It looks like a dark like a dark, it's not a navy blue, but it's like a dark blue, dark purpley color. So
I can see how it could be that.
I'm really excited. I've also heard lots of good things about this yarn and interested in trying it.
And you say you have 4 of those?
Yes, I have 4 of those.
Good gracious. You are prepared.
Yes, I am. So
that's going to be another sweater for me?
I got a good price on them through the D-Stash on Rav.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I going to say?
Sorry, I probably interrupted you too many times.
I'm also just really tired from my day. Usually that doesn't bother me at all, you know? But, like, I just can't hold 2 thoughts together. Anyway,
That's okay.
My brain is interrupting itself. So, really.
Maybe just like, please hold. Beep.
Oh, what I was going to say is, I'm really excited because my stash was very woeful, and now it's got some pretty yarns in it, and I like having a stash that inspires me to go knit things.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you about with our pooling discussion was one of the things I was thinking about was making a pair of socks with black as the contrasting color, so using black and the other yarn, so that that high contrast I think will show the other yarn nicely and will break up any kind of pooling. So that is something I'm thinking about doing, but I have to get black yarn, and oh darn, I have to go to the yarn store. Shuckaroos.
Yeah, I don't know. When you said woeful, all I heard was woolful. My stash is woolful.
My stash is full of wool.
I know, and I was like, oh, that does sound like a nice idea. Although I knew what you meant, but then my brain kind of went on a tangent there.
Yeah. Do you have any shiny this week?
I do not.
Okay, well, I had enough shiny for both of us, I think.
Yay!
On to the next segment. Hyperventilate. What are you super excited about this week?
Well, all of the new crafts that I've been trying, like the button making and stuff, I'm excited about. But again, it comes back into the book that I have to show, and so I have to wait for the book section to show it.
Okay, but well, I will talk about my Hyperventilate, and then you can talk about yours, because the next section after Hyperventilate is books, and then it'll be kind of a combo.
Yes. I'm waiting impatiently. Okay, I'll try to wait patiently, like an adult, but no promises, okay?
So I am trying not to say so much.
Yeah, good luck with that.
What I've been excited about this week is something I told you I was looking into last week, which is the Murder, She Wrote series.
Oh.
I have been watching more of them, and I think I've gone through 13 or 14 episodes, and I'm not tired of it yet, and it's not like I'm not super tired of it, and it's interesting because these kinds of shows, like murder mysteries, have been around for long enough that I can spot who it's gonna be, because it's just been done enough that I know what is. I don't even know why it's gonna be that person, but I can just be like, it's that person. It's the captain. It's the and it's interesting to me why that is. They also have a lot of neat guest appearances on the show. Leslie Nielsen was on the last one as the captain of a ship. So that was really fun. And I'm enjoying it. What is your Hyperventilate?
I might have to check that out. Well, let me drop. No, not drop, but set down my knitting. No dropping of anything. So my Hyperventilate is the project with the buttons. So this is the book, actually. This is, let me see if I can get the light on it. It's like little decorative things to do with buttons, mostly embroidery. So you do a tiny little piece of embroidery, like the size of your thumbnail. And then you make it into a button in the same way that this little fabric button is. So you basically make the fabric for the button. Let me find... Oh, this one's pretty cute. Let's see if I can get that.
That's so cool.
I don't think you're going to see that one. Let's see about this one. Oh, this one you could see. He's an owl. A little embroidered owl. Isn't he adorable?
That is so cute.
Exactly. And there's, on the back cover, here's some mushrooms. And they're my size project. You know? Nice and small. I can focus on it and then get it done and then, wow, I'm done, you know? Without half-finished projects lying all over the place. So, really cute.
And now I really want to make my buttons for my sweater, but I know I'm not going to have time.
Yeah, well, you know, you can always just kind of, sort of, gently tack on buttons that don't really suit it, and then take them off and put on buttons that you like later. No one's going to stop you, and in fact, I'm going to completely encourage you to do that.
This is true. You know, I have a question for you.
Sure.
How do you attach... Okay, let me back up. Ooh.
This one's a little... They crocheted the cover for the button.
Oh, how cute! We can't really see it, but I believe you.
Let me see. This one is different colors, so...
Oh, yeah. That's easier to see.
Yeah, let me put the light on it. It's kind of hard because the paper is shiny.
Yeah, but I can just see the stitches right now.
Yeah.
Little tiny stitches.
Yeah, it's super tiny. But the instructions are all in the back for making each one. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I had a question about sewing on buttons to knit fabric.
Sure.
And I don't know if you'll know them. So this is how I have learned through the internet of how to sew on buttons to knit fabric is to use a backing button because that helps stabilize the button, and especially with knit fabric. So, you know, you put a button on one side and a button on the other side.
Yeah.
And then stick a little needle here and sew it through, take the needle out, and then it'll stick, right?
Right.
How do you do that with the button, or what do you do with a button that has the loop in the back instead?
What do you mean? You can still attach that to another button.
But wouldn't that make it kind of floppy?
Well, a button with a shank will already be a little floppy, just because the shank pushes it up a little bit over the fabric. But when you're sewing a button on, you should be leaving a little bit of space anyway. Like when you sew a regular button onto clothes, you're supposed to, like, put 2 needles or something here, right underneath the button, and then sew over and then take the needles out so that you've created a small gap between the button and the base fabric. Yes. So that when you actually button it, you've got space.
Yes.
So the shank shouldn't technically be making it really floppy.
But I just mean, so, like, you've got your shank button, right? So this is my pencil tip is the shank. Would the shank sit on top? Or does the shank actually push through and then I attach another button to it back here still?
I wouldn't do that. That doesn't seem like...
That's what I'm saying. So, like, what would I put back here to stabilize the button? No?
Another button. Okay, so here's the button with the shank, right?
Yeah.
And you've got your other button here. You just basically pretend like the fabric isn't there and you connect them the same way that you would 2 regular buttons. Except that you're not putting through 4 holes on this top button. You're only coming through 1 loop with a shank button.
So I would do the same process.
Exactly the same. I don't see why you should do it differently.
Because...
But I haven't done sweater buttons. Well, I mean, I've repaired sweater buttons, but I've not, done it to my own hand knits.
Yeah. I just imagine, like, if I did that, then the button would flop around more. I don't know.
You know what you could do is just try on a piece of fabric.
On a swatch?
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. Just swatch the button.
Swatch it? I don't know what you're talking about.
You're usually a pretty good swatcher, except for that one incident that we won't mention. Okay, that I'm totally going to mention because I'm rubbing it in that I was right. totally rubbing it in. I'm a horrible person. That's why I'm in Slytherin. Sorry. Okay.
You're not sorry. Don't lie.
I'm not sorry at all. Okay. Gotta get that out of my system.
Oh, dear. Moving right along. I have no books this week. I've not been booky.
Okay, I'll link to the book that, the button book, because, obviously, it's a Japanese book. But I got this at the regular Japanese bookstore, so you should be able to find a copy if you wanted to, if you go in with the ISBN. Or, if you wanted to look at it, you're welcome to, Pookie.
Yay!
Yay!
We should have a button making day. That'd be fun. Yes?
Yeah. Speaking of, oh, no, that's randomness. Never mind, I gotta stay on topic. On topic! So through movie magic, we can fix our broken sections. Sorry, guys. I know that we've changed appearances on you, but some of the video we recorded was so bad, it was pretty much unusable, so we're redoing just a few sections. Thanks for bearing with us.
Our next section that we're going to start over with today is I Spy. Who have you been seeing lately?
So I went to the park and I saw crows and hummingbirds, although I didn't get close enough to the hummingbirds to figure out exactly what they were. And I know that crows aren't exactly everybody's most exciting bird, but that's all I saw because we were out kind of late in the day. I saw lots of nice plants, but that's not an animal. But it was really fun anyway.
I Spy can be about what plants you saw, so if you saw something that was really interesting, you could talk about that.
We saw, I forget what kind of ashes now, but Chris really liked the trees. I thought that they could use a little bit more judicious pruning, but that was my opinion. But it was fun. All the wind was up a little bit, so it was, nice and breezy, not too hot. I've heard lots of mockingbirds in the neighborhood, although I still haven't really seen any. I haven't really been looking for them either. We had a real big boom of mockingbird babies last year, so it seems like they're all going for it this year and singing their little mating songs now. So we'll see how
more babies.
Yeah, like just what we need, more mockingbird babies. Well, last year was probably the largest boom of mockingbirds I've seen in a long time. I couldn't go 5 feet without finding another one. It was really crazy. I don't think I've ever seen so many mockingbirds in one area. And I know not all of them made it, because I know Felix ate one. Thanks, Guy. He's a cat.
It's because he loves you.
Yeah.
They bring you birdie.
Not a fan. I don't need to see that. Well, it's sweet of him to try to care for me, but I'm not a fan. But anyway, so what have you seen?
My partner and I went to a new hike near us, and the first part of the hike was wooded, but then it quickly became more meadow-like, and this was before the rains came, so it was very dry, and it wasn't all that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As, dormant meadowlands they're just not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
Except then I started noticing on the side of the pathway there were, I forgot the warning. I'm going to be talking about insects. So if you don't like insects or spiders, you might want to skip ahead.
We'll give you a timestamp so you can skip ahead. We know not everybody's as fond of spiders and insects as we are.
Yes. So on the ground were these spider webs, and at first I only saw one, and I thought like maybe a branch had fallen down or something, like the spider web had fallen over. But then I started seeing a couple more, and I took a closer look, and they were ground webs, and each one had the little hole where the spider was hiding.
That's pretty exciting.
Yes, so it was really fun, and I don't know what kind of spider it was, because there's lots of different kinds of spiders.
Yeah.
So this is some kind of ground spider.
Yeah. One of many thousands of brown spiders.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool, and then we started noticing them all along the path. They were just all over the place in this little meadow, so It was pretty cool. While we were out there were birds around, but they were all moving too fast for me to be able to identify them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not good enough with bird calls to be able to identify.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's something I kind of regret having lost the ability to do. I used to be a lot better at that because I was taking some bird ID classes. So that was part of what she taught us, was how to identify things by, like, silhouette or song or, even the habitat. Because if you see him hopping around in the underbrush, he's, like, not an eagle, even if you can't really see what he is, so you
right.
can figure out and kind of reduce your options.
Exactly.
Just based on a lot of factors. So, thanks, Miss Fritas. So, she was a really cool bird teacher.
Oh,
it was a really good class.
The other thing that I saw on my porch were more birds from the tree, but they're all things I talked about already, so.
Okay.
Our next section...
Oh, that's not true. I remember...
What?
Somebody that timber saw.
Was that this episode?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I see, y'all. I thought I was going to repeat myself from a previous episode, but apparently not. So I was sitting on the couch, and Cat on my lap, and Cat suddenly gets up and almost knocks himself into the window, but stops himself just in time. And there's a bird out digging around on the ground. And Bird is unfazed by Cat. And doesn't care that the cat is there. It obviously knows that there's, like, a door there the cat can get out, which I thought was funny. Yeah. But he has he was like a small sparrow-sized bird, and so I looked him up in the sparrows, but he wasn't there, so I kept looking around, and I eventually found that I think he's a junco, and he has all dark head, and that's the only bird that size that I found that had the all dark hood like a head. It was like he was wearing a little hood. And a slightly lighter underbelly, and then the back was another color, but I couldn't really see what it was. So I think it was a junco, but I'm not certain. They, I think, are only in this part of the country for a certain period of time. I couldn't, I probably could have figured out the little map in my bird book, but I just didn't try that hard. I knew, like, there's this color over where I live, and
and especially
it's here sometimes.
Sparrow-sized birds, like, can be some of the hardest to ID. It's one of the things that I think, if you're practicing all the time, it gets easier, because you can just kind of, like, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, but, yeah. At least you got close enough that it could possibly be that one. So that's better than nothing.
And the other thing about the juncos is that there were several different kinds. And with different colorations, and I think it's probably, I don't know anything about this, so this might be totally wrong, but I think it's probably like cats. Like, it's still a cat, but it comes in different colors, So.
Right. Well, I know that there's a lot of birds that have, like, slight regional differences, or sometimes they have the differences between the males and females, or the juvenile ones can look slightly different until they get their, slightly more adult plumage in. So who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that's one of the things I really liked about David Sibley's book when it first came out, was that he has a lot wider range of, the possibilities that it could be. So he shows, like, all of the, well, not all of them, but most of the different variations that it could be, like, this is the wintering plumage, which a lot of books previous to that really kind of skimmed over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it might mention it in the text or something, like, oh, the winter could be a lighter color, but, that's not as helpful as, like, actually seeing it. So when his book came out, I was like, this is what everybody needs to be using, and then everyone was like, no, this book is too heavy. No one's going to carry this into the field, and they were all wrong, and I was right. Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Okay, I'm going to rub that in just a little bit.
But I do believe in the bird book that it had, when under the names, under the pictures, they were regional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, northern Northeastern Junco, Southwestern, I don't remember what
And I
the
know,
regions
I'm
were,
pretty
but
sure, I mean, it's been a while since I studied them, so I can't say for certainty, but I'm pretty sure that they're a woodlands bird. And I know you've got a lot of trees around your place, so maybe that's what he was up to.
yes.
Possibly. If
Looking
it was
for
him.
acorns.
Yeah. Looking for delicious things.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for this week's I Spy.
Okay, so now for realsies, on to our next segment, Ear Party. What have you been listening to this week?
I've been listening to Leadbelly, he's a American folk singer from like maybe 20s or maybe a little earlier than that, maybe even the 10s to maybe late 1940s. I think he died in 49. Anyway, I like his stuff. I just went and listened to just about all of it that I could find on YouTube. He does his own guitar accompaniment. It's pretty cool. And I like a lot of folk song and folk singers in general. So it was nice to listen to somebody I hadn't really listened to before. And I know a lot of people, like, I think Led Zeppelin, have covered songs that he did. Even though not all the songs he did he wrote, a lot of them are, passed down. So he's just doing his own variation, and then, Led Zeppelin comes along and does their own variation, kind of thing.
Right.
So, but it's interesting. You can see a lot of other people's musical influences. And I know Nirvana covered a song that he did too, and they covered his version. It's when you listen to his version of the song, Leadbelly's version, I mean, you can tell that it's his version that they're covering.
Oh, interesting.
There's a lot of different variations of the song.
Mm-hmm.
It's traditionally, I think it was called In the Pines, but then it's also called, I don't know, I can't remember exactly. Where Have You Been, or Girl, Where Have You Been? I'll link to it, but if you just Google it, you can find both Nirvana's version and Leadbelly's version. So that's what I've been listening to, a lot of folk stuff. And then I've listened to other folk stuff from there because of Leadbelly. It's like, how YouTube gives you suggested things. Oh, well, then I'll click on this,
Yeah.
Like, I think Lightning Hopkins. I think his last name's Hopkins. But I'll link to all that stuff.
My question for you is, how did you find out about this folk singer? Did you already know about him, or do you even remember how you heard about him?
I'd heard about him before, but I never looked him up because of the Nirvana song that they covered. So I'm not even sure how I really finally decided to Google him.
But, like, how did you know that Nirvana song was a cover of his song? Do you remember that?
No. Most of the covers, when people do a cover on YouTube, people always have to say in the comments, like, oh, this other person did it first, and they did it so much better. And then there's always, like, a debate, an argument about, no, this cover is better. They've improved on it. So, and then that's how you find out that it's not a...
Right. Okay. Awesome.
But I was listening to a lot of folk stuff that day, and going back through, I was listening to some of the stuff from the soundtrack from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Uh-huh.
And I was also listening to Slavic Soul Party, which is not necessarily folk. They're a brass band, but they do kind of like, just very, it almost sounds like, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but it almost sounds like circus music, kind of. So I'll link to them, and then if you listen to them, you'll understand what they are better. And I also listen to Gogol Bordello, which is I think they bill themselves as Balkan gypsy punk, but they're kind of just, like gypsy rock and roll. He doesn't always sing in English. Some of it's in other languages, but it's fun, upbeat stuff, good stuff to go to a walk to or something. I'll try to find something that doesn't have swears in it, because he doesn't really censor himself, so not all of it's going to be shareable on our podcast.
Yeah.
But it's still fun, upbeat stuff, and I really like it. So I'll link to all of that I've mentioned. Just been in a folk mood, I guess.
Sounds good. I found a new podcast to listen to. The Knitmore Girls podcast has a segment that they call Purloined, where they steal a segment from somebody else's podcast. And it's a good way to find new podcasts, and I think it's nice that they also give exposure to other podcasts while also kind of freshening up their own podcast with different segments.
Right, new content.
They stole a segment from a podcast called, I'm going to mess it up unless I look, Geeky Girls Knit. And just like the Knitmore Girls is a mother-daughter podcast, the Geeky Girls Knit is also a mother-daughter podcast. And that part of it just tickles me that it's a mom and a daughter, and they're both geeky. Like, the geekery is, like, passed on through the generations. I don't know. I just, like, warms my heart.
Yeah.
But they're both really nice, and the daughter is a Ravenclaw, so, you know, us Ravenclaws gotta band together.
I don't think you need any help banding together.
And,
you're organized.
Yeah, we are very organized. And we have parties in the library.
Yay!
One of the people in the Ravenclaw group, her icon is like a blue martini that's splashing, and it says Ravenclaw. Oh gosh, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but it's something like where all the good parties are in the library or something like that. I don't know. Oh, it cracked me up.
That is pretty funny.
But the podcast I liked, and I've listened to 2 episodes so far, and I'm going to keep coming back and see if I would like to continue. So
that's cool.
Something I've been listening to and enjoying.
Yeah. You can never have too many podcasts, I think.
Oh, I'm at that point. I have more than I can listen to now, but...
Yeah, but it's just, you're not obligated to listen to them.
No.
That's why I'm having a wide variety, so I can listen to whatever I feel like at the moment.
Yes.
Usually it's just the Weasley sisters.
So, that's what I've been listening to.
Okay.
Do you have anything else for Ear Party?
No, I think that's it. I had plenty to share. I gotta tone it down and just stick to 1 or 2 things. I listen to a lot when I'm in a music mood.
Yes. Okay, so our next is Walks in the Urban Wilderness. Did you meet your goal this week?
I did. I got 5 walks in.
Awesome.
How did you do?
Confetti. Choo! Choo! I don't know why that came out of my mouth. I don't think you want confetti out of my mouth.
Well, if we lived in a cartoon world, it might not be so weird. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's the loopiness from having to record twice.
Yes, and
we'll blame it on.
It's like a deja vu. Like, I talked about this already.
I know. It's like, wait a minute. Did I already talk about this? I don't want to say. Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yes, I did already talk about this, but I made it.
Hey.
So, my goals. I made my 2 goals. I went on that hike and I walked to my cooking class. Okay. I started a new vegetarian cooking class, and that's been really fun. And it's at the same place that my opera class was at, so it's the same walking over there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I probably should up my exercise goal. I just want to do it slowly because otherwise I will just crash and burn and fail and not do it anymore. So
maybe a flex goal then, like mine. You know, like if you just pick 2 to 3. You know, so you've been pretty good with hitting the 2 even when you've been sick. And then if you set like an upper goal of what you think you might be able to accomplish. Yeah,
I'd like to do keep my 2 walks and then add an optional yoga, you know, do yoga at least once a week, because that would be nice.
Yeah. So there you go. That sounds like a good goal.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what it'll be.
There you go.
So that's it for Walks in the Urban Wilderness today, and I think that's all of what we needed to re-record.
So
with a little
then we're
movie
gonna go
magic,
back to
we'll be back to random remnants.
Back to you.
No, back to you. Okay, so on to random remnants.
Yay, random remnants. Let's see. Let me check my notes. Oh, I was thinking this is totally random again. So, thankfully it's in the right segment. We need more pillowcases, and I really hate spending so much to buy pillowcases because they're just kind of ridiculously priced for something that's just straight seams.
Yes.
So I was thinking about sewing some of my own with all the fabric that I have, because I have plenty of fabric. I just never do anything with it because I haven't been in a sewing mood in a long time. So that would be a good use for a lot of my fabric, and then it would give us more pillowcases. So I was thinking about doing that for the Headmistress's Challenge, although I don't know when that ends, so I really got to figure that out. And I'd actually have to, do it. I don't
straight
think
seams. 3 straight seams.
I know, but my machine is from like 1950, maybe, and it's like solid steel. So I have to like get that out and lift that up and clear off my area because I don't
Excuses.
I know, but it's true. 100% true excuses.
My sewing machine weighs nothing, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get out the sewing machine. Doesn't weigh anything. It's in the closet. It's like 2 pounds.
Yeah.
It's more than that,
I just wish I had space to leave it set up, because I know myself, and I know that I'm like 100% more likely to use it when it's right there and set up. And
I hear ya.
So
preaching to the choir. Ain't got no room.
No room. So yeah, I really don't have room
because in this choir loft.
Yeah.
Kept going with the metaphor.
I just wish I had a solution, a real solution to like leaving it out. Or, where it's like the one, like your treadle one where it like pops up. Oh, see? It's super easy. You just have to have it clean of stuff before you pop it out of the table, and then you can use the table for crafting. See, that would be super helpful. But I don't have that. Yeah. And actually, because my sewing machine is so heavy, there's a limit of places where I could put it anyway. My crafting table is a sewing machine table specifically because it would crush my regular desk. So I gave the desk to Chris because I was like, I can't even put my sewing machine on this. There's no reason to keep it. Yeah.
There you go.
Or I should just buy another... No, I should not buy a sewing machine.
Did you just say buy?
No, you misheard. Surely I would not say such a crazy thing. Yeah. I've wanted a new sewing machine for a long time. It has, like, buttonhole and zigzag features, so I should be thankful. And it can handle pretty thick amounts of fabric, unlike some of the Brother and Singer cheap stuff. Like, you have to be sewing cotton on cotton. They just don't seem like they could handle very much. No jeans! So, maybe their expensive lines could, but not their cheap, get it as cheap as possible at Walmart lines. So, at least that's one benefit of my old clunkers, that I can sew jeans or whatever on it. I just don't have fancy stitches, I can't vary the speed very much because the pedal's old. I've taken it apart and oiled it even to try to help with that, but no go. So I missed some of the features of the fancy Berninas that we had in sewing class. But that's an over $1,000 machine, so I'm not really eager to spend that kind of money when I don't actually sew anymore very often. I still sew occasionally, but...
I hear ya.
But I think the last thing I did was hem a pair of Chris's pants, because he was, like, whining about it. Okay, he wasn't whining about it.
Buy a car, get a sewing machine. Buy a car.
Oh my god, I saw one that was...
Sewing machine.
$10,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And those long arm quilters? Don't even get me started with those. No.
That's a ridiculous amount of money to be spending on a machine unless you own a business and you're making a serious amount of money. I'm not talking about embroidery and shirts on the side. That's ridiculous.
I
don't
still
know.
think you should get your sewing machine out and make pillows.
Yeah. That's
My
crazy.
random remnant is I started a cooking class.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
taking a vegetarian gourmet cooking class. We had our first one last week, and it's taught by a person who she was trained in France and did a lot of her cooking on cruise liners. So
Okay. Large
the
amounts.
class is not like this is how you do it. She runs it like a kitchen. So the former students, there's one at each recipe that they're doing who are kind of leading that. And then you just jump in and do something. Like you pick something, I'm going to chop up these vegetables. And if she starts teaching somebody, I would just go over to whoever she was talking to pick up whatever piece of advice she had for that particular thing that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting class structure, and a couple of the dishes I liked, but two main things I got away from it were how to hold a knife to be effective, and I knew about roasting vegetables before, but I just hadn't done it in a while. So I tried it, and I asked my partner after I made them, because it turned out really good. I asked her after I made the roasted zucchini what she thought I had put on it, and she said olive oil, salt, and sugar. But I hadn't put any sugar on it. It was just cooked, right? So the natural sugar of the zucchini came out, and it was really sweet.
Right.
And it was just like a zucchini from Ralph's, you know? It was nothing special.
No fancy zucchinis here.
It was not a fancy, like, specialist branch from the farmer's market. It was just from Ralph's. So I was pleasantly surprised by that.
An ordinary zucchini.
So that's all for my random remnants this week.
But how do you like it? I mean, do you like the structure, even though it's different?
Oh, yeah. I'm all for it. Why not?
I don't know. I think it might drive me a little nuts. I like knowing the theory before I do something, and then having hands-on experience. That's how I learn best.
Yeah, this class is definitely not for everyone. You know, and it's just, she's got so much going on in her brain. You can just tell it. Like, she's just, like, so into it, and so, like, I can't even be her. I don't even know, like, how you would be her, but it's definitely, I don't think she could teach a class where it was like, and now we're going to do all of this together. Like, she could not do that. You know, this is definitely, she's teaching this way because it's the best way for her to be able to teach people how to do this stuff.
Right.
So, and it's definitely not for everybody, but I think I'm going to have fun. And
that's the important thing.
Yeah. Eat
That's
good
pretty
food.
cool.
Okay. Are we at the end of our row? We are signing off. The Sisters of the Holy Five are signing off this week. Goodbye. Adieu. See you later.
Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.
Outtakes. I'm ready when you are. I'm smiling like a dope. Oh, angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains.
Not so joyous strains.